Hi, my name is Jason Taylor and welcome to JT2 Beef. I wanted to talk a little bit today about the cattle, the cows themselves, kind of their surroundings, and if you could, give a little bit of a panoramic view here. So our cattle, we purposely leave them, they're out on the grass all the time, and you can see it's nice, plush surroundings. We got plenty of shade, plenty of grass, plenty of good green grass, and interestingly right now, we're sitting in about the middle of the summer. So the temperature today will probably be about 92 to 94 degrees is where we'll end up. Last week we were up in the hundreds, but we've gotten a little bit of a cool spell that came back. But you can see if you look back behind me, the cattle, they love sitting and hanging out in the shade during this time of the year. And it's really interesting because what we run is we call 8th ear Brangus, meaning they're Angus Brangus mixes with the 8th ear, so they're drought tolerant, but you still get the black hide and the suppleness or fullness of an Angus. And that's really works well in this area because of our heat and because of our humidity content that we have. And you'll notice during the heat times of the day, it's about noon right now, so this is probably you're starting to work your way into the hottest times of the day, but they'll graze heavily in the first part of the day in the mornings, and then they'll graze heavily in the evening. So in the evening, you'll see them scattered all out all over the hills and all over the place, eating and foraging for that day. But they rest and they cool down. And we're gonna try to ease over here and see if we can get a little closer shot. Sometimes they'll let us, sometimes they won't. So let's kind of see what happens. But as we're walking, I'm gonna talk you through sort of what we're looking at here. So this is a particular set. And what we do is on the ranch, we have different pastures that are divided up. And we purposely, intensely rotational graze. And what that means specifically is we won't keep them on any one pasture for too long. In fact, this pasture, it's actually getting pretty close to time to move them, but we'll keep them in sets of about 60. And 60 is kind of a magic number because it's not too many to look at and see. You want to be able to see them every day, but it's enough that it's a group that you can maneuver and move them, and they like to sit together. So if you'll notice, cattle have what's called a herd mentality. They stay together as a group or a clump. The only time that they spread out is when they're foraging and it's peaceful and it's quiet and you're in the evening or in the morning, then they'll spread out and they'll start to eat. But if ever there's a threat, they'll immediately gather together, and that's their social structure. So we want to play into that social structure, and we want to let them be comfortable and calm their entire life with plenty of forage, plenty of water, and plenty of shade, so they're always comfortable. So let's see if we can move a little bit further, and maybe we can look a little closer at the cattle themselves. So this particular group of 60, these are all steers. They're all a little bit older, getting towards the end, if you will, of the process or their life cycle, so they're a little bit larger. Calves we start them on the steer side for the beef program, about 600 pounds. And then when we finish them out, we focus and shoot for about 1,250 pounds. And that's a pretty good size animal. What we found though is that gives us our greatest yield for this particular breed that does the best in this type of environment. And so that 1,250 pounds gets us the types of steak we want, the size cuts we want, plenty of ground beef and plenty of things that we can provide products to you guys so they're the best, supple, have the best marbling, but at the same time are healthy for you because they're on the grass and they're always treated so well. You can see they're getting alerted to our presence here, and you can come on a little closer. If anything, I just don't want to disturb them during the heat of the day because they're relaxed and they're enjoying themselves, and we definitely don't want to get in the middle of them. In fact, you can even see my dog Benny, who follows me around all the time, I made him sit back there by the side-by-side because I didn't want him coming over here and disturbing our time here with the cattle. Not that we would do anything mean, but just any action, any movement oftentimes disturbs them. So if you'll take a look, I don't know if you can see, but notice how their ears are alerted, their heads are high. When they really get panicked, their tails will come up. Right now, they're just alerted to our presence. Now they're curious, which is good. And notice how I'm kind of walking backwards to them. Now, I wouldn't recommend this for any wild cattle, but ours are very tame. They're handled, so it's not a problem. I'm not worried or concerned that they're gonna come at me. If anything, they're just gonna come see what I'm all about. Now, some features of the Angus Brangus or the 8th ear mix, what I was talking about is, notice you've got a little bit of ear, and you have a good frame, and what a frame means is that it's their bone structure, right? The size of them. But then you also have good suppleness or some good kind of fat content to them. Now, ideally from the beef program, this one right here might have a little bit too much ear, and what that means is a little bit too much of a Brahma influence, but he's still well within tolerance. This one right here, that's a pretty good depiction of what we're after. That's what makes the best steaks, best cuts that go to you. So he's a pretty good guy right here. Now on the right side, you can see a couple of others over here. Like I said, they're alerted to our presence. I don't know if you can see this one kind of in the back there, but he's definitely a good hardy mix. So we got quite a few others. And sometimes they'll let us get up close to them because, like I said, they're very tame by this point in their time period. But you don't want to push them too much, right? So if you get a good scan of them, notice how uniform they are. They're very specific breed. We're looking for some specific things. Some of them are a little bit loose in the neck, and what that means is, again, that's maybe a little bit more Brahma influence, a little bit more Brangus influence, right? So just to back up, you have Angus, right? And you have Brahma, you mix those together, that makes Brangus. And the characteristics of the Brahma are they have a loose neck, they have bigger ears, larger ears. And the reason why that's important to infuse a little bit in there is the drought tolerance. They don't mind the heat. They continue to grow, and the frame that they have. But you want the Angus side to be most of it because that's the fullness, that's the depth of the ribeye plate, and all the other cuts that we're trying to get from it. So you can get a good picture of it. I'm almost hesitant to leave because this is such a peaceful scenario and plus such a peaceful depiction of what their life is like. You know, it's kind of fun just to sit here and be with them. And if we sat here long enough, they would just begin to ignore us and would go about their business. It wouldn't bother them. But anyway, hope you enjoyed your time with us. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you enjoy the cattle. Say bye, boys.